This is the fifth video of the market failure series, and in this video I'm going to explain the concept of public goods and how the market fails to provide public goods. I'll also use it as a refresher of the concepts of merit goods and demerit goods and how basically the market fails to provide those three types of goods in the desirable quantities. So what are public goods? Basically, public goods are goods that are non-rivalrous in consumption and non-excludable. Non-rivalrous means that one person consuming the good does not prevent another person from consuming it as well. And non-excludable means it's practically impossible to stop other people from consuming the good once it's been provided. This creates a free rider problem. Other people can benefit from the good even if they haven't paid for it. A very good example is street lighting. If I go stand under a street light, my consumption doesn't really prevent other people from consuming it. And once the street light is installed and it's lit, it's practically impossible to prevent people from consuming it. National defense is another good example. Roads, pavements, lighthouses, flood barriers. All of these goods, the free market just will not provide them because it's very hard to charge people for providing them, so they're not profitable. Unlike private goods, which are rivalrous and excludable, public goods are non-rivalrous and non-excludable. This lack of public goods is considered a type of market failure. So, this market failure, how can the government sort of try to correct this market failure? Well, the government can intervene in a number of ways. The first way is to just directly provide the public goods itself. Using the taxpayers' money allows the government to spread the cost over a larger number of people. So that's one option that's quite common. However, the government can also subsidize private firms that are willing to provide the goods. That's another option that's become more sort of popular nowadays. So the government can either directly provide the goods itself or subsidize private firms that are willing to provide the good. This is one way, these are two ways, that the government can try to correct this market failure. These were explained in previous videos, but I thought it's worthwhile to kind of refresh our memories. Another type of market failure is the undersupply of merit goods. We know that merit goods are underprovided by the free markets and they are underconsumed. These are goods that create external benefits to third parties when they are consumed. Those goods have higher social benefits than the private benefits. So the marginal social benefit is much higher than the marginal private benefit. Very good examples are education and healthcare, sports facilities, opera, theatre, art galleries. The government can try to correct this market failure, the failure of undersupplying merit goods, either through direct provision of those merit goods or subsidization. The choice of which method to correct this market failure will depend on how important the government thinks this merit good is. So if it's a really important merit good like education and healthcare, that would be a priority for the government. But recently, sports facilities have been more privately provided through gyms where people go and get memberships and all of that. And also lots of governments just haven't been paying as much attention to the arts and the opera and the theatre as well because they're not seen as important as maybe education and healthcare. The third type of market failure this video is used to explain is the oversupply of demerit goods. So that's the opposite of the problem of merit goods, which are underprovided and underconsumed. Demerit goods, on the other hand, they are overprovided by free markets and they are overconsumed. These are goods that create external costs to the third parties when they are consumed. With those goods, the marginal social benefit is much lower than the marginal private benefit. A very good example is cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, child pornography, prostitution, gambling. These are all examples of demerit goods. The government can try and correct this market failure either by completely banning those goods and making them illegal. So in the case of child pornography, there's complete banning, making these goods illegal. However, this may encourage the emergence of black markets, which can be a problem. Another way is indirect taxation. So cigarettes and alcohol, and these are indirectly taxed by the government. The government taxes the consumption. Again, the choice of the method to correct this market failure will depend on how harmful the government thinks this demerit good is. So the market won't provide public goods because they are non-rivalrous and non-excludable. It's impossible to exclude people, and it's not really easy to charge people for using them. The government will also try to correct the market failure of an undersupply of merit goods that are underconsumed, even though they're quite beneficial to society as a whole, and also an oversupply of demerit goods, which are oversupplied and overconsumed. The government can correct any of these market failures either through direct provision in the case of public goods and merit goods, or subsidization in the case of public goods and merit goods, or through indirect taxation in the case of demerit goods, or completely banning them altogether and making them illegal.